Okay, so welcome everybody to the October meeting, and I'll like to introduce you to James Gilmour from Gilmour Space, and he'll be giving you an update on the activities of, or future activities of Gilmour Space. So thanks very much for joining us tonight, James.
No problem. Just confirming everybody can hear me and everyone can see the photo of a rocket trying to leave the launch pad.
It's sweet. Yep.
Hoorah. Okay, well, thanks everybody for coming along. Yes, my name's James Forrest Gilmour. I'm the co-founder and director and head of launch site operations at Gilmour Space. I've had the pleasure of sitting on the board to the NSSA for a number of years and take great pride and satisfaction with that and sharing in their mission and vision. And I'm super happy to talk to you guys about what we do and what we actually did, and particularly where we want to go and some other significant updates that people may or may not be aware of. I'm not sure how long I need to speak for. I've got about 14 or 16 slides, and there'll be an opportunity at the end for a question and answer. This is recorded, so I've got to be really mindful with what I say, but I'll try to give my best answer to almost any question. So, yeah, for people that don't know Gilmour Space, we started the company a number of years ago. I think it was about 2012 when we actually started it. But it is with great pride and satisfaction for me to be able to talk about the company that I started with my brother a long time ago. And, we have grown to be the largest space technology employer in the company, devoted solely to building rockets and satellites, and obviously a launch site. We're presently employ about 232 full-time employees. And the majority of them are based up in Yatala, which is our headquarters, which is inside the building that you see in front of you. And in the coming slides, I'll talk about our centres of excellence in terms of the the departments, and then I'll talk about the launch site and a bit about that, and obviously the recent attempt that you may or may not have seen, trying to launch an orbital launch vehicle from our site up in Bowen. And so here you can see just in the bottom left, that's inside of the main integration area. You can see some of the future vehicles that we're looking to integrate. You can see on the left, that's the main oxidizer tank for 002, and then there's a suborbital program just in there. We have some clean room capabilities. The chaps are working on the satellite bus in the middle, and then on the right, we've invested a significant amount of money in terms of our manufacturing capabilities. There you can see a CNC lathe and a CNC mill. We've also invested into 3D printing Inconel for our vehicle components, with the goal in the year to be as fully integrated. Why? I guess because we control our own destiny, and we can really fastly iterate on a design. It can be quite complicated dealing with manufacturers in country to build bespoke parts that we need, or one-off parts. So having a dedicated team to do that really enables us to move fast. So we have the majority of the headcount is devoted to the engineering effort. We have the mechanical team. They're responsible for designing the vehicle, the structure, understanding the particular characteristics of the materials that they're using, the compatibility of the materials with some of the other aspects, whether it's the propellant or the oxidizers or the gases and fluids that we're putting through the system. You can see that the chaps on the top left, that was quite some time ago, where we received the main oxidizer tank via road. A lot of people ask how we get our rocket parts up to Bowen Orbital Spaceport, and that's mainly by road. And then you can see at the bottom left, that's the chaps. They're about to look to be commissioning the third stage, which is a liquid rocket engine comprised of liquid oxygen and rocket propellant. And then everybody likes, the propulsion department, because they take it, I guess, they have quite obviously an important job to build the motors and the engines, a part of the vehicle. The top right, you can see that's a main engine test of Sirius, which produces about 120 kilonewtons of force. And you can see on the bottom middle, the first stage is comprised of 4 main engines. Pretty nifty. They're composite overwrapped, which is a key discriminator or game changer for us. We filament wind those on a filament winder. Where in the bottom you can see that a traditional method might have been a stainless steel or aluminium case, but the carbon fiber allows us to have similar properties, but less mass, because all grams matter. And then you can see the left picture is when we were integrating the third stage into the interstage section. That was done at Bowen. Our lessons learned is in the future to have more of the vehicle integrated or fully assembled at 77, rather than bringing it up early to finalize the integration. That hurt us and actually caused delays. And then the middle photo, you can see that's a test campaign of the liquid rocket engine. Avionics is essentially the brain of the vehicle. They make up the software team, the guidance, navigation, and control team, and the software team. We have a number of capabilities inside the department with test and verification. You can see the bottom left, that's on a vibration table. You can see in the middle, that's an anechoic chamber. 2 key major and thermal, which we don't have here, but the thermal chambers are extremely important in the environmental testing. The top right, that's a weather balloon. We have to send up weather balloons as part of the launch campaign. We have really strict parameters, and that's what it was actually knocking us out, because the wind balloon measurements actually go into the risk hazard analysis. And if we're out of that parameter, that presents a no-go criteria. Manufacturing, super important. You can see Laura there. That's one of the metal 3D printers, which we spend a significant amount of money on, and goes into into various components, mainly the verniers of the main launch vehicle. Quality control is also a significant part. You can see the precise measurement tool there that Billy's working on. And then you can see a manual lathe, some of the TIG welding. It took us a very long time to actually qualify the main engine. Sorry, the main oxidizer tank weld. That was actually super complicated, some of the components as part of the integration. And then obviously, a fundamental input are the other, people that work. Everybody thinks it's in a rocket company and it's just about the engineers. It's not. We have, HR, we have finance, we have sales, we have, supply chain, legal, grants, IT, and warehousing. I hope people can take some inspiration that you don't have to be, an engineer to work into the space domain, particularly in Australia. So yeah, my principal responsibility is the launch site up at Bowen. A lot of people ask, "Oh, geez, why Bowen?" There's a number of considerations that go into the suitability of choosing a launch site. Trust me, I know. Being remote is important, but not being too remote that you can't build and sustain the site. The area sits inside the state development area of Abbott Point, which is suitable for high impact industries such as ours. We share the area with a quarry that does blasting operations and a coal port terminal that does 24-hour operations. This was quite an early shot, but you can see the majority of the key infrastructure of Bowen Orbital Spaceport. At the top of the picture, you can see the vehicle assembly building. That's where we bring the vehicle in stages, and we integrate it into the inside that building. And then you come down the uniquely named Sky Bridge, and the rocket sits on top of the TE. I've got a video that will show you the concept of operations, but I'll just go into a bit of detail here. And then to the left, you can see the utility pad, and that's where we've got a high test peroxide, a cryogenic storage package of liquid oxygen and liquid nitrogen, water for the water deluge system, and just behind it, the rocket propellant. And then that gets fed through piping and instrumentation into the fluids tower there, and then via umbilicals into the vehicle. The mission patch you can see there was in partnership with a local Juru artist called Robbie Paul. I wanted to not be remembered by our words, but by our deeds. So I worked with Robbie to stand up a mission patch that represented the key theme, bridging country to sky. I'm super proud of it. And please tell me how you think of it later. You can the blue bit, the sea, the dots around that, the local Juru people, and then the squiggly blue line is the sky bridge, bridging the country to the sky. Yeah, so it's taken a lot. I think we initially started environmental and technical due diligence around end of 2020, and then we broke ground in 2022, and then we were able to demonstrate all of the ground support equipment and flight adjacent hardware for that inaugural test only not too long ago. This is the vehicle that we've been designing and developing and testing and verifying for a number of years. It's called Eris. You can see the mission patch just in the middle section there. 23 meters in length, fully fueled, at weigh about 35 tons. It's the three-stage launch vehicle. You can see the fairing as well. We buy that from Ruag. That's actually another area that we're exploring at the moment to manufacture our own fairings. And hopefully this works. So this is a quick video. You can see the vehicle getting pulled out by the tug onto the transporter erector, and then the hydraulic rams will lift the vehicle and the TE into its vertical, and then the hold down mechanisms will engage. This here, we're in the final terminal count. You can see the TE clock back. We've handed over the control to the flight management system. Soon you're going to see the water deluge in operation. See the rainbirds. And so now we've got intentional ignition. The hold down mechanisms are about to release. I'm literally over the moon at the control center, and then whoa, something's not right here. We lose engine C, and then engine A starts having an issue, and then obviously can't achieve enough thrust to have liftoff. But you can see that in this one particularly, that the rocket had the pad avoidance maneuver that was done by the GNC team, and that ensured that we didn't have any significant damage to the site. Nobody was hurt, and there was little or no environmental damage. Yeah, pretty cool. We got about 14 seconds of flight time in that, and obviously the data will go into improving the reliability of future launch vehicles. We still don't understand the root cause yet. We're hoping to uncover that and have high confidence in that anomaly in the upcoming weeks as we look to test the main engines on the area that you might see just to the left which is a hybrid rocket test pad. And then the little area just to the left of it is our liquid rocket engine. So yeah, a couple of points here. First orbital launch, Australian launch vehicle, first licensed orbital spaceport, and first orbital launch attempt. Yahoo! The other thing that a lot of people don't actually know about that I wanted to share today is we also build satellites. This here, AlaraSat, went up on a transporter mission about 3 months ago, and that's currently orbiting at about 550 kilometers in height. I can share with you the details of that, and you can actually track that to understand where that is in time and space. This was pretty cool because we were also able to, work with CSIRO. They were able to put in a water sensor in it. We've been able to, test and verify a number of significant aspects and components of the satellite, which for us is quite significant. And you can see some of those aspects there with the antennas. The deployment mechanism was with a exo launch that people may be familiar with here. You can see the deployment ring there. What else? Yeah, look, this is just another a couple of photos just to say we work really hard, but like to have a good time doing it. So that's the chaps over in America as part of the integration. As you can see, that was on Transporter 14. And these were some of the launch and orbital parameters. Sorry, I said 550. It's actually, 502. Yeah, my mistake. And yeah, so that's essentially, a bit of an overview. I guess people are asked what's next. We've got a suborbital program that we hope to launch in the next 3 months, and then the 002 of the Eris, which is essentially a similar figuration around April next year. And in terms of the future block upgrades, we're looking at obviously sending more mass to orbit, and soon we'll start integrating the liquid rocket engine that we're testing and developing, which is a higher thrust, particularly for the second stage. So, questions?
Hey, James, it's Alan.
Go ahead, mate.
Yeah, so sorry. Okay, go ahead.
I guess just a question on everyone's lips, and we're all just wildly enthusiastic about having a domestic space program. Where's the funding coming from? I mean, we're looking at a multi tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars of activities. Where's the funding?
Yeah, great question. We've raised about $160 million in Series A, B, and C,
Wow.
and D investment.
Yep.
And we're about to probably raise about $150 to $200 million as part of our Series E. We're quite happy to say that we've pretty much demonstrated an orbital launch capability for less than 100 million
Yep.
US dollars, which is actually cheaper than that of our peers of SpaceX and Rocket Lab.
And Rocket Lab. Yeah, good for you. Thanks. Terrific.
Janine's got a question on shipping the transport sections up about risk management insurance costs.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Janine.
Yeah, you said that it would be better if you put the assembled more together than in parts, because that created problems. But how does that work in terms of risk management and because of transport if there's a crash? And then the insurance people, how did that go? Is it affecting you in terms of your insurance assessment?
Sorry, I just disconnected a bit. Sorry, Janine, you had a question about insurance?
Yeah, and risk management.
Well, insurance at the highest level, we need to demonstrate as part of our launch permit $100 million of third-party liability. That was actually pretty easy than what I actually thought, and that was relatively cheap than what I thought.
Yeah.
In terms of risk management, that's just part of our kind of DNA. Obviously, you can't have zero risk, and the way we kind of demonstrate that is through the risk hazard analysis, which we have to work with a suitably qualified expert. In our case for this 001 was with Praxis, and we give
Yeah.
them a whole bunch of information that goes over our engineering management policy, our risk management framework, testing, design reviews, more information that you can poke a stick at. And
Yeah.
essentially that comes out with these isoplephs, and that isoplephs are like zones, and then our risk hazard and areas, or our hazard areas, are an outcome from our zones. So we have various. Great question. We have various safety zones in place during the operation in air, land, and sea, and we have quite an extensive temporary restricted area and temporary danger area for airspace. That pretty much covers a lot of the Pacific. That goes right out to the Solomons. And just to go over how more onerous we were subjected to than that of our peers, there was no legislation that said that we had to do that. That was a bit of a made-up number from CASA to say, hey, we want you to do more in terms of defining aircraft risk. So we had to put buffers on buffers.
Well, in that regard, like, how would you go with that? Because sometimes light aircraft might, be a little bit more flexible with their flight plans, or drones. The advance of more drones in the airspace, is that going to create a problem down the track?
Well, yeah. So if a drone comes into my airspace and we find out, then they're actually breaching their regulations, because we're the authority. So if we find out who they are, and again, like, people should obey the road rules. Drone operators and light plane operators should read the NOTAMs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What about your collab with the because you said you're bringing some inventory from the facility down south in terms of road transport and stuff like that. You've got a good relationship with the Queensland Traffic and Police departments, I assume?
We don't actually need a good relationship, because everything is as per TMR spec.
Okay.
So the components aren't wider than 2.5 meters, and I can transport high test peroxide down the middle of George Street in Sydney if I wanted to. It's no more dangerous than that of an oil tanker, and it's as per specific road rules and regulations. So that was nothing too onerous there, and everything was kind of pretty clear and well defined. If we build bigger vehicles, say, that are wider than 2.5, then we'll have to have appropriate transport management plans in place with spotters. But again, I don't see that as being a big deal.
Just a question for oxide, James. That's probably the most dangerous material you do have to transport. Where actually is that manufactured that you're getting it from?
Yeah, so we bring our high test peroxide from Evonik in Germany, and we bring that over via the sea, and then we transport it by a Deidre transport company. But we are looking to manufacture that ourselves on site because it costs a lot.
Yeah, I used to work for a company that used to make it back in the old days at Orica down at Port Botany in Sydney. But I
think that we can
a lot of those
produce it for
types of things.
Yeah, and furthermore, if we can increase the percentage of the high test peroxide, we get more mass to orbit.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, that's one unfortunate thing that you have to import it because like maybe the stuff that you're using is higher quality than what we used to make there. But I remember that was something done back in the 80s. But the problem is that some of that capability's disappeared in the last 40 years, and we don't make as much as what we used to in terms of that. But I mean, so you're basically importing it down in Brisbane, I suppose, or I don't think you get it up at Bowen, did you? Where do you get it shipped into then?
It's FIR Brisbane Port.
It's Brisbane, yeah, that's what I thought. So you got to
And
actually.
then we just truck it in. But I think the next shipment's coming from Townsville. But again, like that's to me, coordination of those funds that I find with the company is motivating, aligning, and leveraging the human resource.
Yeah, you'll learn that over a period of time to try and work out how you're going to import that. What's the closest port anyway? I think that's just one of the things about learning anyway. You had a question on the CSIRO, Janine. What was that exactly about? I'm a little bit confused. No, it's to do with staffing, I thought you said. Anyway,
Sorry,
oh.
I didn't realize I didn't have the microphone on. The CSIRO are downsizing about 800. So I was wondering if that's going to affect James in any way in terms of the assistance he receives from CSIRO.
Well, look, I'm not sure on their space strategy, but if they've got widgets or sensors that they need to integrate on a particular platform and they want to choose Gilmour Space, that's fine. I'm not sure if the downsize has any impacts on potential collaboration. I would hope not.
Sounds like it isn't impacting on him directly, although most likely it's impacting on other CSIRO partners, I think.
Yep.
Quite a few different groups that CSIRO is working with, so you'd have to look at where the positions are being shedded. I mean, they've got mining operations, they've got a lot of CSIRO's doing. So anyway, I'll go back to Alan.
Oh, thanks, Wayne. Hey, James, the whole history of human spaceflight has been punctuated with those sort of old shit moments. Was there one of those during the launch of your first vehicle?
Sorry, say that again, mate.
I'm just saying that the whole history of human endeavor in space has been punctuated by those sort of oh shit moments. So what was yours? Oh, I guess there's a very obvious one, but was there something more during the first launch attempt?
Well, look, I mean, to tell you the truth, what took place was better than I expected.
Wow.
I thought we were going to have further complications on the vehicle.
Yeah.
When we actually got intentional ignition and liftoff, I thought, oh, geez, we're really in with a chance here.
Wow.
And then I noticed straight away that there was an anomaly with one of the main engines.
Yep.
But again, as a director, I just I wanted to make. I was hoping that there wasn't going to be any damage to the site or critical infrastructure
Absolutely. Yeah.
that we built, because that would have been a hard pill to swallow. And then, furthermore, we sit a couple of k's away from the Kelly Valley wetlands, so that wouldn't have looked good publicly.
That's a big country.
If the vehicle landed in that. Again, I'm super happy with what happened, because it took us years to navigate various approvals.
I can
And the
imagine.
worst thing that could potentially happen was demonstrated only a couple of months ago. And so I look forward to now peeling back all the onerous environmental responsibilities that the state and federal governments exposed us to, because they were worried that we were going to, put a hole in Bowen, which we didn't. And again, one of the key considerations of choosing the choice of technology in hybrids is that they're traditionally safer and greener. and super happy to have actually demonstrated that, not so long ago. But we did have a camera crew that was there on site, and they did capture the moment of Adam and I in the launch control center during the time of launch, and I think it was all emotions all at once in a period of less than 20 seconds.
Yeah. Good on you, mate. Good on
I
you.
had my pregnant wife there as well, so I needed to make sure that she wasn't getting too excited or have
I reckon.
an early baby.
Goodness me. Yeah. Well done.
Yeah. Just a comment about the permits. I remember Adam making a comment, James, that there are 35 different permits over the course, and that was part of the reason I think it took a bit longer. For those people who weren't aware, that was the number of permits that Gilmour Space had to get, including the clearances to get the launch.
Oh yeah, look, I mean, but again, even if I wasn't recorded, it was the first time that a commercial operation, nor a regulator had to test the act. I'm just disappointed that the onus of responsibility had to bear in line with us to speak with various levels of federal and state governments, where there technically should be one door. It should be one government at a federal level, and that was super challenging. And furthermore, we had to wait for, say, the space agency to give us an indicative approval before we could resolve our outstanding airspace management matters with CASA. But again, there's an undertaking from all parties to kind of do better, which is good because, as someone that is super bullish with Australian space, I said we've all got to do a better job, because if we can't do this better, how can we build this, a space capability in Australia? Because space capability is underpinned by some of the stuff that we do, and a regulator has to be razor sharp. David,
think
mate, we've got more data than you can poke a stick at. What do we think the root cause analysis is? We're not 100% sure. We've got some speculation, but you may or may not have heard. We've got some main engine testing in the next couple of weeks that we can further characterize and confirm some of the speculation that we have. I think partly, we'll see. I don't want to speculate. We need to know sooner rather than later, because it is holding up our confidence on trying to set a launch date for the suborbital program that I was hoping that we could achieve at the end of the year.
Right. If just one engine had failed, could the launch have continued?
Well, if it was up to me again, I think we should have done a hot start with stage 1, stage 2 step, or stage 3, stage 2, stage 3 step. I think that would have been super cool, but we wouldn't have known that the anomaly was going to happen like that. I don't think so. Part of the problem with hybrids is we have a terrible mass fraction compared to a fully liquid rocket engine. Google that if you want to go down a bit of a rabbit hole, but that's super important. Mass fraction of a launch vehicle is super important. Where you've seen probably some other launch vehicles like Starship or Falcon that they can achieve their desired orbit if they lose an engine, because hybrids are pretty much mass heavy. We couldn't have, and again, that actually would have very likely triggered an abort scenario, because if it didn't perform as expected, it could have had some serious issues associated with the downrange environment.
Right, I get it.
So, John, we have great relationships with pretty much every major uni in Australia. James Cook aren't super heavy in engineering, but if you've got any contacts, mate, happy for you to make a representation. Just a quick one. I'm super bullish with trying to give younger generation experience or work experience. We've got some really good case studies with candidates coming through, UQ or Griffith University or QUT as part of their work integrated learning or professional practice. They've got to do 30, 60 or 90 days. And the uni covers the insurance. And I've got about at least 7 case studies where people have joined, and Kristen particularly is I think she's just clocked over 7 or 8 years, and now she's a senior propulsion engineer, responsible. She was part of the launch campaign, and I'm super proud of that.
Well, James, just as a matter of interest, JCU is my alma mater, and I am aware that there is there's an opportunity for having a static display about a number of things, including Gilmour Space, which would be a good way of say, showing your profile without
Excellent.
too much
effort.
So I have been in touch with JCU wanting to do other things with that space, and I did mention to them that there is an opportunity to have a static display for Gilmour Space. Now they're investigating the use of that vacant building, but if it's a beautiful building, and if they proceed, then there's that possibility of having at least a static display there showing the attributes of Gilmour Space.
Yeah, that'd be great, Mr. Lee. Please make a. I'll send everybody my email here.
I'll loop you in separately, you two.
Oh, yeah. No problem.
John and
Thanks.
James.
Thanks.
That'll probably be simpler because I think you can have a discussion about it privately if you like. It'll be easier.
Scott, you have a team to market your capability. Who are our key customers? Mate, our key customers are anyone that needs access to space. It changes every time. The last count I saw that there was 43,000 small satellites that need to be launched in the next decade, and there is just not enough supply to fill that demand. What we're trying to do is solve that problem. And our key differentiator when we're successful is that we will get you to your specific orbit rather than having to go on to a transporter. And that's the other thing, mate. Small sat operators can't get on a bloody ride. People are screaming for us to be online. So our focus is cadence, and then we'll look at providing more master orbit. And then the other thing is, yes, the Australian market, there's some consideration there and defense, but, our strongest intent is from overseas satellite providers.
It's a question from Matt James, I think, next.
How do we see impacting younger Aussies? Mate, I hope it provides a bit of a bright light for them to see that there are actually opportunities domestically and that they don't have to go abroad. That's why I joined the NSSA with their promotion of space activities, particularly in Australia. I'm a pretty staunch Aussie. I don't like to see the brain drain. I think it's super important for these opportunities for them to have an opportunity, not just in the company that I represent, but with the other, close to 300 small and medium enterprises in Australia that operate in the space segment.
Next one's Janine. Okay. Can you see Janine's comment?
Well, look, I mean,
Question, James?
One issue is that there isn't really any requirements for any Australian public funds in space technology or defence that mandates that it goes on to a or has consideration for Australian industry content. Until that changes, we'll see more money going over to overseas satellite manufacturers or launch service providers. That needs to change, but that won't change until we're, quote unquote, successful, where that of our international peers have secured contracts where they haven't even got anywhere further than say we have. But again, we do this because we care, not because of perceived aspects from our overseas competitors.
I think that that's really crucial. I think it should sort of be the focus, actually, given technology is so important to the digital economy and trust of other players and actors. We would be best served by having our own assets and being autonomous in that regard. Yeah. So
It
keep
should,
up the good work,
from my
James.
perspective, it should be mandated.
Absolutely.
That's
I think so
our taxpayer funds. We should be worried about building and growing our own space capabilities in Australia rather than relying on that of our overseas perceived partners.
I totally agree. Yep.
Alan, I'm only going to comment about the political environment. That there's an undertaking for all parties to do better.
I think one comment that James was making earlier is the complication with trying to work out which government you're talking to try and get certain regulations through, whether it's local government, federal government, or state government. The complication we've got here is the fact that we've got different bodies, and sometimes that makes it really hard for people to understand which organisation they have to talk to get stuff through. And this is a problem with the way that the country operates, though, and the fact that politicians haven't streamlined it.
I think Wayne, and like Janine, the last thing I want to do is make this in any shape or form a political issue. But you only had to attend New Horizons or the public day of the recent conference to understand that we're at the threshold of an enormous industry in space, whether it's just Earth orbit, Lunar, Mars. The next 50 years will be absolutely staggering in what we're going to see. And that's why I think it's very, very important, because Australia has a unique position and Gilmour Space is right there at the forefront. It's very important that state government and federal government understands where society is, where humankind is going. So hence my question.
Yeah, look, I think, to me, I'm obviously super biased. Space is important, but say not as important as healthcare. But again, society shouldn't just focus on one aspect or area to move the nation forward.
Exactly.
I just would hope that some of the things that not just that Gilmour Space are doing, that other companies like Innovor and Skycraft and Fleet are doing to show and prove that actually Australia can compete on the global, space domain, and that is important. That any kind of Commonwealth procurement rules should have the highest consideration or mandate investment into the local or measuring the Australian industry content.
Yeah.
But again, if people want to, you can always talk to your local member and say, hey, are you aware of this? And, happy to make representation during their time in Canberra.
Yep. Cool.
In that regard, James, have I got my sound on?
Yeah. Yep.
In that regard, James, how are you? What do you feel is the feedback for you in terms of partnerships with like JAXA or NASA or any of the other overseas?
We've got a strong relationship with NASA. we had this first commercial space activity agreement with NASA all those years ago. But again, that was them wanting us to invest into America. We'd rather invest our money into Australia. We're actually having really good conversations with JAXA and the Korean Space Agency. I think they're understanding the, in importance. I guess at a high level, we're not looking for a handout. We're looking for more of a hand up, particularly compared to that of our, overseas, launch service provider or satellite manufacturer provider support. It doesn't seem to be a level playing field, and I don't see them helping us out in a time of great need that could be seen, in the coming years. And again, don't we want to invest into capability that can look at aspects of environmental or the Great Barrier Reef, or improving crop utilization, or fire monitoring and detection and notification, our own satellite broadband, things like that are important. But again, look, don't ask, I'm not expecting you guys to do anything, but through good communication can potentially come change. So we'll see.
Are you going to be attending the big meeting in Tokyo at the end of this month?
Janine, no offense, mate, I've got a 2-week-old baby girl. I would be shooting myself.
Some questions for you, no problems.
I'd be shooting myself in the foot if I saw permission from the chief of finances or my chief of everything.
Got to sort his priorities out in the short term and make sure that the baby gets the right level of attention at least for the next couple of weeks.
Exactly.
On a personal level, how's the cat going with the baby?
I was super worried, but Bella is, I have 2 dogs and a cat, and I thought there was going to be issues. I thought the cat would want to sleep in her cot, and that's a no-no. I'm not sure Harry, the dog, understands that he's moved down in the pecking order, but everything's actually, really good, and I'm actually surprised how somewhat functional I am with little or no sleep.
Well done.
Unfortunately, going to learn that over the next couple of years.
Yes. Oh, and I'm doomed. I'm going to be a pushover, unfortunately.
You mean in terms of the baby?
Yes, I'm doomed.
Yeah, but it's a little girl, James, so that's always one problem you've got in that respect. They're probably going to wrap you around their little finger.
Yes.
Week.
James, you're gone. You're gone for life.
I'm gone.
Anyway, that's the good news is you've got another 20 years definitely to deal with it, and that's the positive thing about it.
Oh, look, the good news is, I get to talk with good people, about things that I like. That gives me warm and fuzzies.
Yeah. Okay. So have we got any more specific questions for James at the moment? It sounds like the main thing you have to work out is the situation from the launch and try and plan over the next 6 months. But the last time you spoke with us, I think I recall, was a few years back, and in fact you didn't even have the launch facility in Bowen. So a few things have happened since we last spoke.
Oh, look, it's been significant. We're going to raise a lot of money. We'll make a big hoo-ha about that. That will really bulletproof us. But, our goal is mass to orbit, and we need to achieve that as soon as we can, and then improve on the reliability, and, provide that really access to space. And then in the future, potentially consider what a commercial crew program looks like. I've always wanted to go to space. I'm sure a lot of people on the call here would want to go to space. I just think that'd be super remarkable. But again, that's a decadal thing, and that will take significant public, support as well. So things like this, potentially start those conversations.
Right. Have we got any further questions for James? If not, I will certainly say thank you very much.
I've got one.
No,
Matt,
yeah, go ahead, mate.
for it.
Do you think we'll see any like reusable rockets in the future, or is that like a bit far off for now?
Yeah, good call. Good
No,
question.
great question. Reusability for orbital launch vehicles is the holy grail. Hybrids don't particularly, I think, play too well in terms of that consideration. One of the, if you guys haven't, some more homework is Google George Cooperman. He started a company called Ambrock. Super sad story. The fella, embarked on starting a company to build a vehicle that was like, too cheap to reuse, like a diesel kind of equivalent. Great story. Super early, in the kind of rocket era, and unfortunately died on his way out to the launch pad. But yeah, one of our considerations is, potentially manufacturing a vehicle that's too cheap to reuse, because it is quite significant consideration, particularly on the engineering, and then ensuring that the qualification of that is kind of fit for purpose. That is in the roadmap. How that looks, will be kind of determined, whether it's retro, whether it's under wing, whether it's under parachute. But yeah, that is the kind of holy grail.
Yeah, fair enough. Just one sort of personal one, if that's all right. What inspired you to get into like the space field?
We came up with backstory. We were inspired by Burt Rutan and Scale Composites when they won $10 million as part of the X Prize, and we thought we were going to build a space plane, and chartered an aeronautical engineer from a light plane manufacturer in Bundaberg to do a feasibility study on a reusable launch vehicle, but that was super onerous. But we uncovered the opportunity in the propulsion mechanisms. And then I wanted to find the Australian Tom Mueller. SpaceX fans would know who Tom Mueller is. He was their chief, propulsion, founding propulsion engineer for SpaceX, and found a chemical engineer. And he did also a feasibility study on liquids, solids, and hybrids. And we went down the hybrid path. And that was many years ago. And I think we're starting to bear some fruit from all our hard work at the moment. But I see us as just getting started.
Cool.
I think it's about 10 years ago, wasn't it, James? Now, I suppose that'd be the time frame we're talking about.
Yes. Time is all but a relative concept, Wayne.
It's freaking me up because I'm saying 10 years ago, but you know what I mean. That's
yes.
It all takes time, and that's the reality of it initially. I mean, once you get the infrastructure set up, I mean, that's the main thing I was making a point of earlier, was that you guys have done quite a lot in terms of infrastructure over the last 2 or 3 years, although you haven't had the launches, but there's nobody else really doing this except in South Australia, and they're not even using Australian launch vehicles. So that's the difference.
Look, each to their own. So it's important that when the tide rises, all boats will set sail.
Yeah.
But again, I'll be super pissed if there's any Australian public funds that go into bringing over a launch service provider where we could see that money invested into our company or another proposed launch service provider to see that capability onshore.
Well, I think that's a fair comment too. I mean,
I think we all would be.
Yeah, it's a matter of just looking at priorities too, in terms of making sure that Australians get a fair go. I think is probably the good words to use. So
Anyway, If it's okay, we can wrap
you've
it up.
probably
But
got
if
to
you've
go.
got any questions, please let me know. It's been great to talk to you guys. Great questions. Happy to do another catch up, in a year's time or whenever you guys seem suitable. Hi, Yolanda.
Yeah, you've done well, James. Thanks very much for your
super,
time.
absolutely super. Thanks, James.
No problem. Thanks,
Thanks,
guys.
James.
To the stars.
Thank you, Jane.
Right.
Have a good
Thanks,
day.
James.
Catch up. Bye.